You think if they weren't happy, they wouldn't
If
be
you don't see
protesting?
America, you don't
They
see.
have unions. They have
You don't
unions.
think the,
If they aren't happy,
you
they're
don't think.
protesting.
So get the UFC.
Oh,
Right,
bro,
where
I've
were
been
we?
in camp, bro.
Yeah,
I've been in fucking camp.
I have to say, I'm afraid to say it. That since my fight, I've done absolutely fuck all but eat chicken nuggets and burgers and drink. I haven't worked
Is
out at
your
all.
is your phone background still the same?
No, it's a picture of
What?
my cat now.
Do you have a cat?
Yeah, I've got a cat. I've had it for ages. A beloved family pet. You gonna make fun of that? No.
I'm just glad you're getting some pussy, okay? So, uh, okay, so
Yeah.
much to unpack this week. Let's not act like
Right,
we've already
come
been
on.
talking for
Let's
45 minutes off the record.
yeah. Let's yeah. You got to do a proper intro. That's well. You can even leave that. Yeah, we've been talking. None of it usable. Lots of
None of it
screaming and
usable.
shouting.
We
Go.
have a new
You
logo.
loved
It's going
it.
to be up there somewhere. New
Oh,
logo. Thank you to Maddie Designs for that. Yeah, just pointing randomly. Yeah. All right, put your phone down. Come on. It was
sorry,
grinds my gears.
Sorry, I was just posting a graphic. Okay.
Okay, so much to unpack here. Breaking
Right.
news. T-Mobile fucked up and released the poster for Jones versus Gane.
Yeah.
Sad to see Francis leave the UFC. I love and respect
How
Francis so much.
how do you feel about that whole situation, by the way?
Respect to him. Never bend, never fold, never break. Francis has the biggest nuts on fucking earth. And we've seen
Probably
him put
literally.
it all, and we've seen him put it all on the line before. Oh my god! When you go on YouTube somewhere, you watch the whole how he got to France
Yeah.
7 times, crossing the ocean on dinghy, going through the fucking Sahara. Oh my god! Like that man is just forged, fucking just steel. But yeah,
I
I
feel
hope
like
I'm happy that he stuck by his morals, and sounds like he's going to get what he wants outside of the UFC, which is what he deserves after everything he's been through, his whole life, he's gonna get his just due, hopefully.
I'm curious to see what happens to him, man. I think he like he did with the Ciryl fight. He took a risk and a gamble and bet on himself, which I think so far in his entire life he's bet on himself. Right, every step, like you just said, trying it France, he bet on himself.
Inspiration.
He bet on himself to get in the dinghy and row it out far enough into the Mediterranean. He bet on
7
himself to go.
times.
He bet on himself to go for Europe. He bet on himself living by himself. He bet on himself walking into a gym. The guy bets himself. It's paid off. So naturally, he would think, I can do this. I just wonder if he doesn't get the big boxing match, if maybe he'll have to come back to the UFC eventually, because I don't know if there are big fights out there for him. I'd like to see him fight like Fedor, even though Fedor's meant to be retiring. Like that's a fight. I think he could have some fun in Ryzen and stuff. But I wonder if after a while, people won't want to watch him just fighting these low level guys. So
I feel
hope he
like
can.
even if he gets, 2 or 3 fights at the rate that he wants to get paid and all that, it would be more money than he's made in his entire UFC career. You know what I mean?
I think UFC are offering him a lot of money, but I also
But
think
2 fights
if
outside
he,
the UFC,
it,
if he does a spectacle like with Fury, or if he fights
well, that's
Fedor
what
or something,
oh,
I mean, he
if
would
he
have
fights
made
Fury,
more
what?
than even he would have made more than his entire career, and all of it would have
If you
paid
fight,
off.
but that's what I mean. It's a little bit of a lottery, right? But if he gets the Fury fight, if he gets to fight Joshua or Wilder, dude,
Oh
what?
yeah,
He can
everything's
fight that
paid off, and
walk
then
away.
he's won.
Yeah,
He's won. So he only
yeah,
needs just a one fight.
yeah.
Just needs
But it
the
needs to be
one
the right
fight.
fight.
Pardon?
It's just he needs the one, and it's about timing, right? Like if he had been
Hey, Fury
out of
doesn't
his
have a
UFC,
fight.
Fury's fighting Usyk.
Is he?
Yeah, it's not announced, but yeah,
Well, how do you know?
to watch boxing.
What do you mean it's not announced though?
So they're trying to finalize a deal with Saudi or somewhere in the Middle East this week, and then if it's not in the Middle East, they'll do it in London in March.
Oh,
Now, I'll say this: March is not that far away. If Francis was ringside for that, and Fury won, I could see them fighting after that.
This is true. This is true. This is true.
I
But
could
yeah,
actually see that. So
I feel like it only takes one for him to get his just due.
yeah, and actually now I said that, there is a world that he could get Fury. It's just a bit complicated, man. Like, for him to get those $20 million purses, he really needs to fight either over in America, which I don't think Fury can get to right now, or in the Middle East. And I don't know if the Middle East would know who Francis is that well. So, but I'm, fingers crossed for him.
I feel like the Middle East is just like they don't. It's not about the name value. They just want it there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because it's like they still do it at the pay-per-view at the the normal times. You know what I mean? They just want it in their backyard. They don't care about name value.
But the thing is, if they fork out like 100 million for Fury versus Usyk, are they going to do it again like 3 months later for Fury versus Ngannou?
They have a lot of money. They have a lot of money over there.
They do
have a lot of money over there. Aren't they going to pay fucking Lionel Messi $500 million a year? Some stupid offer like that. Like, they got a lot of money over there. You can never underestimate how rich the Saudis are. That's one thing I've learned. But let's, before we dive too deep and fucking regress into the last 45 minutes.
for anyone who'd like to know, a little summary is David and I were discussing fighter pay, and it devolved from that into a debate about corporations. That is any American corporation, and this sounds like
but this one is different.
Capitalism, the rights of workers.
That's how the snake-like thing fucking works.
Yeah, but you don't think that could be challenged in court? Of course, it could get challenged in court.
You think if they weren't happy, they wouldn't be protesting?
They
have unions. They have unions. If they aren't happy, they're protesting.
So get the UFC. But yeah, we won't go back.
And somebody was licking somebody's butthole over there.
I didn't realize someone was a communist.
Jones versus Gane. What are your first thoughts?
Interesting, it's that way around, right? Because usually John's not ranked at heavyweight. They usually do the rankings, like the ranked. Just an observation.
So is he a can?
Hey.
All right, give me your first thoughts, and I'll give you mine. Because I feel like mine is very compelling.
Oh, really? Well, that's exciting. I feel like it's probably, with the exception of maybe one other person, I think Cyryl's the hardest matchup for John at heavyweight, because
he's the favorite.
I think everyone sort of assumes that John, you move up a division, you have the speed. Cyryl's faster than John was at 205, so he's definitely faster than John's going to be at heavyweight. He's and significantly faster. I think everyone basically looks at those last 3 rounds with Francis, and I do too. Like, if Francis can get him down with no knees, there's a case that John should be able to get him down too. The issue is that John hasn't wrestled like that for a long time, and I think I could just see Ciryl kind of outpointing him for 25 minutes. John struggles against the bigger guys, like against Gustafsson the first time. It depends, man. It's just really hard to know what we get until we know what John we get. But I think it's probably the toughest matchup he could get, especially off the break.
Yeah,
now,
so
your compelling thoughts.
That was great. So the narrative I was seeing in a bunch of the comment sections on different platforms was, people were giving Gane 0 chance. And then the betting lines came out and said that Gane was the favorite. But people are still, I guess it's just the fanboys coming out because John has a lot more fans than Gane. But I was watching a video on YouTube 2 days ago. It's like a 25-minute long video about all of John Jones's title defenses. And, it starts from Rampage, Rashad, goes all the way down. And then you get to Thiago Santos, who, with 2 damaged knees, managed to give John a lot of trouble. Even though he was just like fumbling and falling all over, all over the place. Thiago Santos, with his style and the way he was able to, you just have to go back and watch the replay of that fight, and he was touching John. But even the whole story of that video was like, John was just destroying people.
Yeah,
and then gets to Anthony Smith, and then he starts to, level out. Dominic Reyes gave him some trouble, and then Thiago Santos gave him a lot of trouble. And then, like, you watch Thiago injure himself, kicking John, fucking, like, ruining one knee and then the other knee going. But, like, I was so surprised with how much success Santos had with 2 damaged knees. And some people say John lost that fight.
I think people say that he lost that fight and the Dominic Reyes fight.
Yeah, but, like, and those are his most recent performances. And you want to go taking a flat-footed John Jones who is fighting in a new weight class up against a fucking middleweight, heavyweight Ciryl Gane. But you know what I mean? Yeah. And then all you have to do is just watch those Thiago Santos highlights and be like, Yeah. But then the X factor is the grappling. How good it was. John has a fantastic blast double that he sort of like fucking disguises into a flying knee or something. His grappling is sick. But is he going to be able to have as much top pressure as Francis? And I feel like Ciryl is so Ciryl has picked up MMA so fast and it is so technical that like his rate of advancement in the grappling department would be like a rocket ship. Just because his fight IQ, he's only how many years in the game? 5 years in MMA. I feel like he just learns so fast that he will make improvements, but not enough to match up to John on that level. But like putting the whole thing together and not being in danger. I feel like. Yeah, the narrative, people are saying, it's going to be a wash, but, like, I would not underestimate Ciryl Gane.
I mean, I think Ciryl is the rightful favourite. I also think there's a world where it could actually, because Cyryl's not only quick, he's incredibly strong. I mean, John's always been said to be strong, but what if that doesn't translate to heavyweight?
And good footwork, and, like, the mobility. Oh, I'm doing it again. I can do it again.
I think there's a world where it's like 25 minutes of them fucking patty caking, There's a world where they both like where they both just like touching hands the whole time looking for an opening that doesn't come, like, because they're both point fighters, So I could see them both like sort of playing a very slow game. I think it's compelling. The best fights are the ones you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, on the feet. No, John needs to take the fight to the ground. Because he's going to be like,
John loses.
Yeah. Because one is going to be at a new weight, and just the way he fights, flat-footed, not as like, karate, bouncy, dynamic. I mean, John is a good striker. He's a great striker as well. Like, he has multiple tools, but not as dynamic. John is dynamic as well, but not like when it comes to dynamic and variety. Ciryl has that advantage, like all day.
Well, John's dynamicism, I think
dynamicism, so. Yeah, I didn't know the term for that. Yeah.
It regressed a lot. He was very dynamic early on, and then after he beat DC the second time, he went away for a bit because of the test failure. But by the time he was fighting Thiago, Anthony, and Dominic Reyes, he was basically doing a teep kick to the knee and punching with a jab. He was very, very, very linear.
And how dynamic is Jones going to be at heavyweight when?
Well, it depends.
He's carrying all that mass.
There's an X factor, right? Because I do think there's something to say that John fights the level of his opponents. I do believe there's an element of that. I do think that he probably had zero motivation. I think when he was fighting Thiago and those guys, he was just trying to burn through his contract as quickly as possible. So I think he was just fighting very, very quickly.
Why do you think that?
Because he wanted a new contract. So he was just he had like loads of fights on his deal, so he was trying to get through it. And I think he fought like 3 times in under a year, which was pretty rare for him. So I think there's an element of that. So maybe he wasn't really invested, and maybe that's sort of.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that, because like when it comes to contract negotiations, if you're having the performances and you're putting people away, when it comes to 3 fights left, that's when you really start to renegotiate. But then you got that bargaining power of like I'm that great, not I'm having all these close fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the record's still the record. If he got to 30-0, I don't even remember what his record is. What is it? It's like not far off.
27-1.
He's 26-1, yeah. But the one is obviously the one.
Yeah, he got finished.
by Hamill.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Didn't I forgot about that.
they stopped
All
it, didn't
our
they?
Yeah, 50% of the people in that fight were left a bloody mess on that canvas. So I mean,
Hey, it is what it
that's
is.
just stats. It's just
Hey,
stats right
I
there.
don't make them up.
Well, yeah, I think I think it's good for the sport if John is back, right? But I
Yeah.
also think it's only good if he wins. You know, if he loses, especially after being away for so long, it's bad look. Not a bad
If he
look, but
loses, what do you
it
think happens? He retires?
probably retires. Yeah,
Because
he'll
he's
do
done
a
enough.
rematch.
There's nothing left to prove.
He's basically, mate. He's had two Hall of Fame careers already. He beat everyone on the come up, and then as a champion, he
Yeah.
beat everyone as well. And then if he comes and wins another one, it's like his third career as a Hall of Famer. So he's done everything. I
Yeah.
could see him doing I could see him doing a rematch. I could see him wanting to like prove he can come back. But after that, if he lost two, probably would retire. Yeah, I think here's what I want to happen, mate. I
Let's
want
hear it.
I want John to fight Ciryl and win.
And
Well,
win.
I don't care who wins, but well, I think let's say he wins. Then you do Tom Aspinall returning against Stipe. He beats Stipe, and then you do Tom versus John, the past versus the future. And I say that because I'm friends with Tom Aspinall.
Like, I couldn't tell. I don't know, but it's going to be a fucking interesting one. Oh, they better. That card should be stacked.
Well, I mean, hopefully they get hands out on it, and you know, it'd be good to get a couple of names out there.
I
So.
mean, we're going to have a pretty good first quarter. I feel like this Brazilian card this weekend is pretty good that we'll get into soon. And then we got Makachev, Volkanovski. It's a shame
Yeah, big.
a few of those fights fell out.
Yeah,
And then what we get like 2 in March, don't we?
yeah. You get
Two
you
weeks
get
apart.
Cyril versus Cyril and John, and then
And then
Kamaru versus Leon.
Kamaru, Leon,
Good fight.
and then yeah, that's a great first quarter.
Yeah, and then in April, I reckon they do Hamza in April against someone, probably Rob Whittaker. That's my theory.
What main event?
No, but I reckon that'll be on that card.
Hamza, Whitaker wouldn't wait till April, wouldn't he?
It depends. Do you know what? It probably depends when Izzy and Alex are going to rematch because I bet they try and do that as a co-main.
Well, so do you think Hamzat's going out to middleghteweight now?
You've seen him
Yeah,
recently?
he's bulked
Pretty
up.
big
He's
boy.
bulked up. What happened to the fight with Colby?
Don't know. I guess it fell through. I presume Hamzat's been doing videos saying he's desperate to fight. So if it fell through, you would have to assume it's not from his side.
Ooh, Hamzat Whitaker would be so good though.
It's a tough fight for both. So that's a really tough fight. I like that. It's obviously a great fight, but
Tough for both. I feel like if Rob can counteract the grappling, it'll be a breeze.
I think Breeze. I think
Yeah,
I
Breeze.
would like to see. I would like to see Hamzat do that. Finish the 170 journey first, because once he goes up, I don't think he's ever going back down really. So I'd like to see him fight Colby and Kamaru, and you know, like do those two fights first because those are ones I always wanted to see. But I don't know. We'll see. I think it can end up moving to middleweight. But yes, good first quarter. You know, in Brazil, you're not allowed to flush your toilet roll down the toilet.
Oh, so where do you put it?
They have a little bin next to the toilet.
No. You take a photo?
I can do if you'd like.
Wait, what do you mean? Got a little bin?
So, at this hotel, there's a big sign saying, "Don't flush your toilet paper down the toilet. Use the bin provided." And then I had a little Google, and apparently the pipes in Brazil are so thin that if you put toilet paper in them, it'll clog them up. So you're meant to just shit, wipe your ass, put it in a little bin next to the toilet.
Does it
and
smell?
The staff come in. What? I've also got a shower and a bidet. So I'd rather just go and wash my ass like that than actually.
Oh, okay.
Have
Forget a
shit
bidet. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Oh, yuck.
And I'm not one for a bidet, to be honest, because I'm too English. But I'd rather that than have literal. It's all right, but I'd rather do that than have literal shit paper lying in my fucking room. You know.
Yuck. All right, let's just go bottom to the top. Got Terrence McKinney in prelims. Fighting Ismail
Good
Bonfim.
fight.
That's what I'd say that
Where
that
you
would
said
be
that.
the sleeper fight.
Well, Terrence McKinney's always good value, right? So
Yeah.
that's going to be decent. I think Munir Lazez is a decent fighter. I think he's, he might not be the best in the world, but he's always in exciting fights.
Happy that Shogun
I'm
is
happy
getting his hero's send off.
well, he is if he wins. If he gets brutally knocked out, then that will be depressing.
Yeah, I would have rather he fought another older veteran instead of this young 26-year-old.
That's sort of where I'm leaning to, but we'll see. They should have convinced Machida to come back and fight him like one last time.
That'd be nice.
That would be nice, but this didn't happen.
Yeah, he should have been fighting a bigger veteran.
No.
Paul Craig.
Who do you?
What did you say?
No, keep going. Go.
Paul Craig versus Johnny Walker. Interesting fight.
Johnny Walker's an interesting case, man. If you think of the trajectory he was on early on in his career, everyone was like, "Oh, this is the guy to beat John Jones," and he sort of stuttered a little bit since then. So I am curious to see.
But he's coming into his own now, sort of thing, isn't he?
Yeah, he's fighting a little bit differently, though. I'm curious to see if he can keep that momentum going. And I think Paul Craig's another one, man. Like, his fights are always just kind of a bit quirky, so there's always entertainment in watching them.
Yeah, I feel like Paul will not be able to get him to the ground so easy. He'll have to be very crafty.
Yeah, and I think he struggles when he can't get people to the ground.
Yeah, they say Johnny Walker is the most athletic athlete on the roster.
Most athletic athlete.
Yeah, when it comes to the PI testing.
Okay, I just enjoyed the fact you said athletic athlete. That's made me laugh. Okay.
The most athletic fighter. The most athletic fighter.
Sorry, I got a bit distracted. Let me ask you a question before we continue in this card. My hotel is located just across from the beach, just a stone's throw away.
Yeah.
And they have a bar on the beach. But last time the UFC were here, some guys came and robbed them all at gunpoint. Do you think I should go over there by myself and have a drink, or should I avoid?
I feel like you should urge on the side of caution. It's not going to kill you if you don't have a drink for a few days. Or have a drink indoors. Have a drink indoors. No, I used to be so dark. I used to be fucking on like subreddits and like dark places on the internet, and a lot of bad things happen in Brazil.
Yes, I know.
A lot of bad things happen in Brazil.
Well, to be honest, I wasn't even considering it, and then this girl just walked past in a bikini, and I thought, the beach is a lovely place. I could probably just swing out there for 5 minutes. But
doesn't your girlfriend watch this podcast?
Huh?
Do I take that out?
Yes. And then we're on to the co-main, which are the flyweights. Your thoughts? Who's winning this final one in the stanza?
Which fight?
The co-main, the flyweights.
What about Burns and Magny?
Oh, Gilbert. Yeah, I actually like that fight. I forgot about it, but I like it.
Yeah, it's a new one.
I
feel like Andrade goes through Murphy, though.
I actually just saw Lauren Murphy here. I think Andrade probably does do a job there too.
Yeah, I feel like she just gets even stronger with the whole move on with it.
Yeah, it could be like a big night for the Brazilians, to be honest.
Yeah,
it has that sort of energy about it.
The energy in the arena. You're so lucky. You have the best job in the world. You don't fight.
Yes, I do.
I guess you had the one fight, but you just travel the world and fucking watch all this shit. But yeah,
mate, really.
Here we go.
Once you get in the cage, you're a fighter for life. To be honest, really. Every day's a fight.
Burns and Magny. What do you think?
Yeah. I think if Burns wins, he is on a fucking really good trajectory in that division, right? It just because of that fight, I think people want to see Burns, and I think if he wins, I think he could get that Masvidal fight next.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Bilal fight if Bilal is okay with fighting someone who's not like a top contender, and then I think if he wins that, he's back in title shot world. You know,
Yeah, it was a
I think
big breakout year for Burns. Same thing. People just
yeah,
wrote him off. But I'm glad that
yeah,
he had the performance that he did because it was a fucking epic fight.
yeah,
Pretty epic
and
fight.
he's everyone forgets like I rewatched it recently. Okay, like he wasn't close to finishing the fight necessarily, but he fucking cracked Kamari. Like he hurt Kamari, you know. So
Oh, I took about Kamaru fight.
yeah, he hurt
Yeah,
Kamari.
he
Like
did.
I
He
think
did.
Gilbert Burns is Gilbert.
He hurt Hamzat too.
Yeah, Gilbert's a dark horse in that division, man. Gilbert's great. I like Gilbert a lot. He's a nice guy too.
Yeah. And Magny, everyone loves Magny. Magny puts up his hand for anybody.
Yeah,
You'll
I
never
mean
see
Magny's
Magny
not
turn
scared
down
of
a
anyone.
fight. No, no
Yeah.
way, no way. And Magny has a cardio advantage. But
Yeah, but
I feel like, yeah, it would be so tough fighting a Brazilian on this card.
yeah, but like Magny never really plays into that sort of stuff, does he? He's not going to do a Colby and call them dirty animals afterwards, is he?
This is true. This is true. And then Figueiredo, Moreno. I guess we're just
Probably
in for who knows. Moreno
I
did
think
show some improvement in his last fight against Kai with that step in
yeah,
body kick.
I think
Man, that was a sad night.
yes, I remember. I think that fight with Figueiredo always just comes down to how Davison did the weight cut. You know, I think if Davison screws the weight up,
Yeah, but you
like
also
he
need
did,
because you also need new tricks up your sleeve. You know what I mean? It's the fourth time in a row they're fighting each other. You got to have something new that like you've not pulled out in the first three. You know what I mean? You got to have something, at least a few things up your sleeve.
I know, but I think with like, yes, you're right, but I think Figueiredo's like a tricky one to do that against because he just starts swinging, he hits so hard. I think you've revert to type after a while, you know. But
Yeah,
we'll see. It'll be
I like
interesting to
Figgy
see
though.
if Moreno.
Figgy's always cool, even though oh, do you want to hear a funny story?
Yeah, go on.
I don't know which fight this was. I think no, it may have been Moreno versus Kai. I was sitting next to Figgy and his translator, and I was filming as well for the reaction video. And I think I was off balance at one point, and then Figgy is there with his belt, and then I think he told his translator that and then I think his translator told me I can't remember how it happened, but he thought I was gonna fall on him and crush him.
I mean, you probably get.
So he's just sitting there with his belt, and he's just like,
See, that's the thing, man.
I actually felt so embarrassed. But we laughed. He's cool. Like, he always give you, fist bump, take photos and whatnot. I don't know, yeah. I feel like his
character
persona is all the fucking glasses guy.
Yeah,
just glasses.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
And Cejudo and that sort of influence, you know. I think it's just that'll be a fun fight. Yeah. Looking forward to that fight.
Yeah, me too. And then main event. Main event. Glover is going to try and be like a wet blanket on Jamal Hill.
Yes, I think it's an interesting fight in that I believe Glover can take Jamal down, but I also think Jamal can crack and Glover gets hit. You know, so it's kind of it's an interesting one, you know.
Yeah, Jamal. Yeah, but then can he get back up? I think they see Jamal as a brown belt, but that's got nothing on someone like Glover. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's an interesting one. That's one where it's basically everyone's just waiting to see if Glover's toughness runs out, you know. But I think.
Fuck is this sound? Oh, this.
Orland.
What did you say? Sorry.
So I guess it's kind of like one of those things where Glover's just aging a bit, and it's like, is this the fight where he looks as old as he is? You know. But I think it could actually turn out to be like a pretty decent scrap. I think if Glover can hold Jamal down until the later rounds, he'll probably pull out the victory. But for the first couple of rounds, I think Jamal's very, very dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Jamal is very crafty on the feet. But yeah, the first two rounds will be very telling, or after the first takedown, just to see what shape they're in.
It's funny though, like both of us were shouting, and then as soon as we got to like talking about the fights, it was just like
no energy. Fucking yeah.
Both of us were like, okay, thumb now.
No, you were going pretty hard on that rim though.